When I paid for their new appliances, my daughter-in-law laughed and said, "You think that makes you important? We don't need your charity." My son just looked away as she handed me the receipt and told me to leave. I'm a 64-year-old widow living just outside of Lexington, Kentucky. My name is Marlene. I lost my husband 5 years ago to a sudden heart attack. One minute he was in the kitchen making toast, the next minute he was on the floor. Just like that, he was gone. My world got smaller after that. The one thing that kept me going was my son, Cody. He was always a sweet boy. Polite, helpful, always checking in on me. He'd call just to say hi. He brought me flowers on my birthday, hugged me tight every time he left the house. We were close. We had the kind of bond one thought nothing could ever break. Then he met Danielle. They met at a friend's wedding. She was pretty, sharp-tongued, the kind of woman who took control of every room she entered. I could tell from the start she didn't care for me much. I was polite, of course. Tried to get to know her. But it always felt one-sided. She never asked questions about me. Never wanted to know about Cody's childhood or his late father. She barely smiled when I visited. At first, I told myself she just needed time. I waited. And waited. Then they got married. A small wedding, not even in a church. Danielle picked the venue, the dress, the flowers. I offered to help, offered to cover the food and drinks, and she said, "That's sweet, but we've got it." Then later, I found out they used the money I gave Cody for the wedding expenses, just never told me. I heard it from someone else. That was the start of a long, silent pattern of being left out but expected to support them. Still, I kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to be the overbearing mother-in-law. I didn't want to give Danielle any reason to keep me away from my grandkids. Then last year, their washer broke. Cody called me. Said it was leaking all over the laundry room floor and they couldn't afford a new one. Danielle was on maternity leave after having their second baby, Chloe. I didn't hesitate. I wired them $2,100 that afternoon. Told Cody not to worry about paying me back. I just wanted to help. I thought I was doing the right thing. No one thanked me. A week passed. No pictures. No phone call. No update. I figured they were tired, adjusting to life with a newborn. But it still stung. So I drove out to their house to drop off a lasagna and some baby clothes I'd bought for Chloe. It was cold that day, the kind of gray Kentucky winter that gets into your bones. I knocked on the door, holding a casserole dish wrapped in foil. Danielle answered. She looked half asleep, hair a mess, holding the baby like I'd woken her from a dream. She barely looked at me. "Oh. Hi." I said, "Hey sweetheart. Thought I'd bring some food and clothes for the baby." She didn't even respond. Just walked back inside and left the door open. "No, come in, no, thanks." I stepped inside. The smell of formula and dirty laundry filled the air. I saw the washer and dryer through the laundry room doorway, shiny and new. Stainless steel, digital screens, top of the line. I smiled and said, "I'm glad they arrived okay. Are they working well?" She laughed. But not a nice laugh. The kind of laugh you give someone you think is pitiful. "They're great. But just so you know, we didn't need your money." I blinked. "What?" She walked over to the counter, grabbed a piece of paper, and handed it to me. "This is the receipt. Just in case you want to keep track of your donations." I stared at the paper, confused. Cody was standing a few feet away, holding the baby. He wouldn't look me in the eye. Danielle crossed her arms and smirked. "You think buying us appliances makes you important? We don't need your charity." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. I looked at my son, waiting for him to say something. Anything. He didn't. He just bounced the baby in his arms and stared at the floor. I swallowed hard, placed the lasagna on the table, set the baby clothes on the couch, and walked out. I didn't say a word. I drove home in silence. I cried in the driveway for a full 10 minutes before I could go inside. I sat in my kitchen that night, eating a bowl of soup, staring at the wall, trying to figure out what I did wrong. But then something shifted. I wasn't sad anymore. I was angry. Not screaming, yelling, table flipping angry. The quiet kind of angry. The kind that simmers in your chest until it has somewhere to go. I thought about everything I'd done for Cody over the years. How I supported him after his dad died. Paid for his college classes. Gave him the down payment for his first house. Bought him his first car. Even co-signed on a loan when he couldn't get approved. Helped them fight a property dispute with a neighbor by putting my name on a legal petition to the city. And this is how they treated me? No respect. No gratitude. They forgot who helped them build that life. They forgot me. So I started making some calls. I didn't scream or confront anyone. I didn't argue. I didn't beg to be treated better. I just started untying the knots I had helped them tie. One string at a time. They didn't see it coming. But they would. And when it happened, they'd remember exactly who they'd underestimated. A week after that visit, I pulled out a binder from the hall closet. I'd kept records over the years, not out of spite, but because that's just who I am. Organized. Careful. The kind of person who reads the fine print. I had copies of the car loan I co-signed with Cody 3 years ago, right after he and Danielle moved to Nicholasville. Danielle's car. A white SUV. Reliable. Expensive. My name was still on the loan. And I checked the insurance paperwork. Guess what? My name was listed there too. I called the bank the next morning and asked about the status. The payments were current, but since my name was still on the loan, I had legal rights. I confirmed it, twice. Next, I went to the city zoning board's online records. Last year, Danielle and Cody got into a dispute with the neighbor behind them over a fence. The lot lines were a mess, the city was dragging their feet. I had signed a document backing them up. It gave their case more weight because I was technically listed as a part owner of the property. They needed my name on that document to move things forward. But the case hadn't been resolved yet. It was still pending. They didn't know how exposed they were. I waited a few more days, just to be sure I wasn't acting out of pure emotion. I wanted to be sure I was doing this for the right reasons. And I realized. I wasn't out for revenge. I was done being used. So I made some decisions. First, I called the bank and requested to remove myself from the car loan. They said I couldn't unless the loan was refinanced under Cody and Danielle's names alone. I asked what would happen if I withdrew my consent for future payments. They told me it would put the account into risk assessment and could trigger a reassessment of terms. Perfect. I told them I was no longer responsible for the debt and sent a notarized letter to that effect. 3 days later, Cody called. "Mom," he said, his voice tight, "why did I get a notice from the bank about the car?" I stayed calm. Because I'm no longer comfortable being tied to Danielle's vehicle. I took my name off. He sighed. "You can't just do that without talking to us." I said, "You didn't talk to me before laughing in my face and handing me a receipt like I was a cashier. So I guess we're even." There was silence. Then he said, "Danielle's upset." I said, "She made that clear. I'm just matching her energy." He hung up. Then the text started. From Danielle. Nasty, short ones. Things like, "You've made your point. Are you happy now?" And "What kind of mother ruins her son's life because her feelings got hurt?" I didn't respond. Instead, I followed up with the city zoning department and told them I was rescinding my signature from the support document tied to their fence case. It might delay the process by months. Possibly longer. Then I called a lawyer. I didn't want to take back anything big. I wasn't trying to destroy their lives. I just wanted my name off everything. Let them figure it out like adults. Let them respect what it means to have someone in their corner. Then came the twist I didn't expect. About a month later, I got a knock at my door. It was Cody. Alone. He looked like hell. Eyes sunken, tired, like he hadn't been sleeping. "Can I come in?" I let him. He sat at the kitchen table, stared at the floor. He said, "She's leaving me." I froze. "What?" He nodded slowly. "She said I'm not the man she married. That I don't stand up for her. That she never wanted to live in this town. She's moving back to her mom's in Louisville. Taking the kids." I sat down across from him. I didn't say anything. Then he added, "She said I'm spineless. That I let you walk all over us." That's when something inside me broke. I said, "No, Cody. I carried you. For years. And when she disrespected me, you let her. You didn't stand up for me either." He just sat there. Silent. "I wasn't trying to control your life," I said. "I just wanted to be part of it. But she made it clear I wasn't welcome." "I know," he whispered. "I was scared to lose her. But I think I lost both of you anyway." It hurt. Hearing that. It hurt in a deep, sharp way. But I didn't hug him. I didn't tell him it was okay. Because it wasn't. I told him he needed to fix it. Not with me. With himself. Be the kind of man who protects the people who love him, not the kind who hides when things get hard. He left after an hour. That was 3 weeks ago. And now? Danielle's gone. She took the kids. And something tells me this is just the beginning of what she has planned. But I'm not scared of her anymore. I've got nothing left to lose. And if she thinks she can take everything and walk away clean, she doesn't know who she's dealing with. 2 weeks after Cody showed up at my door, I got a letter. Not an email. Not a phone call. An actual certified letter. Signed. From a lawyer. Danielle had filed for full custody of the kids. She was accusing Cody of being emotionally unstable, negligent with money, and incapable of providing a safe, healthy household. I read the whole thing 3 times. Then I called Cody. He picked up, voice hoarse. "Hey." I said, "Did you know she was filing for full custody?" He didn't speak for a long moment. Then he said, "Yeah. She warned me. I didn't think she'd actually go through with it." I asked him if he had a lawyer. He didn't. He said he didn't have the money. Between Danielle freezing their joint account and him getting dropped from the loan after my removal, his credit was in the gutter. He could barely make the mortgage. He was thinking about moving back in with a friend from work. This man, my only child, was now facing losing everything. And the worst part? He let it all happen. But a small part of me, even after everything, didn't want to see him get destroyed. So I offered to pay for a lawyer. Not a flashy one. Just someone solid. He was stunned. "Why would you do that?" he asked. "Because I want my grandkids safe. And I don't trust her to do what's best for them." He agreed. Reluctantly. I could tell he was still ashamed. But the fire was coming, and he finally saw it. The next month was hell. Danielle wasn't bluffing. She went for blood. She told the court that Cody had emotionally abandoned the family. That he allowed verbal abuse from his mother. That he refused to contribute to the household and sided with his mother during a period of postpartum stress. She made me the villain. She even included screenshots of my text about removing my name from the car loan. Said it proved I was trying to sabotage their financial life. Claimed I was emotionally manipulative and intrusive. I couldn't believe it. She lied about everything. And she was good at it. Cody's lawyer warned us, this woman knows how to twist a story. She's painting you, Marlene, as the controlling mother-in-law who wanted too much access to the kids. It could work if we don't act fast. I realized she wasn't just trying to win custody. She wanted me erased. So I made a move she didn't expect. I started writing everything down. Every gift, every check, every cosign, every babysitting day, every visit I was invited to, and the ones I wasn't. I backed it up with emails, bank records, and pictures. Even texts from Cody thanking me for helping with bills. Receipts for diapers. Notes from the property line case. I organized it all into a binder. I handed it to the lawyer and said, "This is my side. This is the truth." He raised his eyebrows. "You've got more documentation than most accountants." I looked him in the eye. She wanted a fight. So let's give her one. 3 weeks later, we went to court. It was messy. Danielle showed up dressed like she was auditioning for a Hallmark movie. Cody looked like he hadn't slept in a month. They argued back and forth. She painted me as an obsessive mother. Claimed I tried to buy my way into their family. That I crossed boundaries and made her feel unsafe. I sat there and listened to it all. When it was our turn, Cody spoke first. And for once, he didn't fold. He admitted to being passive. He said he'd let his fear of confrontation destroy the people closest to him. He apologized for not defending me. He said I'd been the only consistent person in his life for the last 5 years. Then my lawyer brought out the binder. The judge flipped through it slowly. Asked Danielle if she had any documentation to contradict what I'd provided. She didn't. That day, the judge didn't rule fully in our favor, not yet, but he ordered a temporary custody split. 50/50ths. No relocation of the kids until the next hearing. Danielle was furious. She stormed out of the courtroom. And that's when I saw something in her I hadn't seen before. Fear. For the first time, she looked unsure. But I wasn't done. Because I'd just received something in the mail that morning that changed everything. And it was going to turn this battle into a war. That morning, just hours before the custody hearing, I'd gotten a letter from the city of Nicholasville. It was about the fence. The zoning board had reviewed the case, the one Danielle and Cody had started months ago. After I withdrew my support, Danielle submitted a new statement without my name. But the board required land co-owner consent. And they just informed me the application was officially rejected. That meant the $9,000 fence they had already put up. Illegally installed. They were being ordered to remove it or face a fine of $500 a day until it was gone. That was the moment I knew the war had turned. But I didn't rush to tell Cody. Not yet. I wanted to see how far Danielle would push. 3 days after court, she texted me. "You won't win. You think you're clever? You're just a lonely old woman with too much time on your hands." I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded the zoning notice straight to her email, with a subject line that read, "Fence removal order. Effective immediately." She lost it. The next day, she sent Cody a raging voicemail. She screamed that I was destroying their lives, that I was jealous, that she should have cut me out years ago. She didn't know Cody and I were sitting in the same room when he hit play. He listened. Quiet at first. But when she started calling me a bitter, toxic snake, something changed in his eyes. He didn't get angry. He didn't shout. He deleted the voicemail and said, "I'm done." That night, he forwarded it to his lawyer. Along with every text she'd sent trying to block him from seeing the kids, every email where she insulted him, and the screenshots of her threatening to ruin me. The lawyer filed a new petition. Full custody. Not temporary. Permanent. The final hearing took place in early spring. Danielle had no clue how badly her behavior had come back to bite her. She stood there with her lawyer, arms crossed, acting smug. She told the judge Cody was a manipulated mama's boy, and that I was meddling in a family that didn't want her. Then the judge played the voicemail. Her voice filled the courtroom, dripping with hate and venom. The judge's face didn't move. He looked straight at her when it ended and asked, "Is that how you usually speak about the paternal grandmother of your children?" She froze. Stammered. Then tried to claim it was taken out of context. But the damage was done. That wasn't all. The lawyer brought out witness statements from her neighbors, 2 people she'd screamed at during the fence installation. One claimed she threatened to call CPS on Cody just to get him out of the house. The other had security footage of her tossing a trash bag full of dirty diapers onto their property during a shouting match. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about her. And the judge saw it. He ruled in favor of Cody. Full physical custody. Danielle would get supervised visits. Once a week, in a neutral setting. No overnights. No out-of-state travel without a court order. She was also ordered to repay half of the joint marital debt, including the illegal fence. Her face when she heard the ruling? Like someone pulled the floor out from under her. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just stared at me, pure rage in her eyes, like she finally realized I had been playing the long game, and she never even saw the board. That night, I sat on my porch. Cody came over with the kids. Chloe giggled as I bounced her on my knee. James, the older one, asked if I still had the toy train he used to play with. I did. I never gave it away. Cody didn't say much at first. Then he looked at me and said, "I'm sorry for how I let her treat you. I see it now. All of it." I nodded. I believed him. But I also told him, "You let it go on for too long. You let her decide who I was to you." He didn't argue. He just said, "I won't let that happen again." As for Danielle, she left town. Went back to her mother's in Louisville. Tried to start over. Last I heard, she was working part-time at a call center, still telling people Cody stole the kids. But she forgot something important. She didn't lose the kids because of me. She lost them because she burned the bridge she thought she didn't need. And by the time she realized it, it was ashes. So yeah, maybe I'm just a retired widow with too much time on her hands. But I'm also a mother. A grandmother. And now, I've got my family back. And no one will ever laugh in my face again.